Hello and welcome back to this series of instructional videos on the Untopia simulation. In a previous section we talked about research and development and how teams can get patents, and now we're going to move on to something a little different. This is one of the intercompany transactions that you can engage in the game called licensing. Okay, so every once in a while you'll decide that you may not wish to do your own R&D because it's expensive. So as you're building your strategy, you might decide your business model won't support doing your own R&D, so you can buy it or rent it from other teams in the game. Okay, so this way you can avoid the upfront expenses of research and development, but still use the higher grades of patents. Okay, and that happens through this licensing function that's available in the game. The revenue that you get from licensing, if you decide to do that as an R&D firm, allows you to specialize in that particular area. So this is one sort of strategy that emerges in the game that you can do. You can become an R&D specialist, and we'll talk about that in a few slides yet. Okay. Now the licenses are a form that are available on the website, and the licensor in this case will fill out the form and submit it on behalf of the licensee or the team that is trying to get the license. Now the important thing is that the license takes one period to process. So if I'm team one and I'm an R&D specialist, and I get the patent, say, for X2 in period 3, I will fill out the license then in period 4 to give that to another team. Okay, that team can only use that license in period 5, whereas I'd be able to produce the grade in period 4. My licensee would only be able to produce the grade in period 5. So there is a 1-period delay that occurs there. So although you're saving money as a licensee in the R&D function, one of the problems with that is you're actually going to have to wait a period in order to produce that grade. So there is a 1-period delay, as I said. Okay. Once you receive that license, however, it's yours to use and do with what you will. So you can produce that grade. You can do your own research and development towards the next grade. So in that case, if I got the patent for X2, via license, if I decided to jump into the R&D market myself, I'd be moving towards X3 in the next period. Okay, and the licenses, the way they're paid for using lump sum payments. So if I was team 2 in this case and I wanted the license from team 1, I would negotiate that price with team 1. So say I buy it for $1 million. Then that's a one-time payment that goes through to period 1. Okay, and that license form takes care of both the license and the payment, so you don't have to do a service payment or anything to look after that. That occurs at the same time. Okay, now one of the things that you'll see on the output and the inventory tab are these two variables down at the end here called maximum producible grade and maximum owned grade. And you'll see in this case there's 2 columns for each area. In this case, it looks like this particular firm is producing the Y product, and you can see in their ending inventory they have 145,000 units of grade 5Y. And you can see that their production grade is 5. So they have the patent to produce Y5, and if they do their own R&D, it would be going towards getting the next grade, which is Y6. Okay. Over here, in contrast, for X, they have 0 here. So they haven't done any of their own R&D, and really they're not involved in the X market at all. So they have no grades in that particular case. Okay. Now, in terms of R&D specialists, this is a new strategy that can emerge for a team if they decide to just focus on research and development. So if they do that, what they're going to do is invest the majority of their money into research and development each period. So that will be their primary expense in home office. And their primary income is going to come from licensing income. So they're going to build a network of customers that they're going to license and collect licensing fees from each period. Now the only caveat is that if you're an R&D specialist, You do need to operate and build one plant, and only one of each plant in each area for testing purposes. So you may decide to do it in just one area, and that'll give you an extra little bit of income at the same time from the sale of X and Y. But you need to operate those plants for testing purposes. Okay. Once you're registered as an R&D specialist, you automatically become a little bit better at R&D. And so what that means is that if you spend $1 million on R&D, that $1 million is going to be more effective than $1 million spent by somebody that isn't an R&D specialist. So presumably by specializing, you're going to have better scientists and they're going to work better at getting the next grade than another team is, for example. Okay, so the important things to remember for licensing and R&D is that the licenses do take a period to go through. So make sure if you are getting a license that you discuss that with whoever's providing it so that you know exactly when you're getting it. Okay, so that's really all you need to know about licensing for the Intopia simulation. Good luck going forward.